Hi, everyone. This is me again, and welcome to episode 9 of this ongoing series, where we break down real product concepts in a simple and practical way. In the last video, we talked about experimentation and A B testing, how teams validate ideas. But now comes the real question: how do teams actually plan the work and deliver it in a structured way? Because ideas are useless unless they are executed properly. And this is where sprint planning and execution comes in. In this episode, we'll talk about the sprint planning, execution, formulation, and how they work together hand in hand and complete a process. So, before we go further, let me take you to my screen for a better understanding of how these things work practically. So let's start with sprints first. Now, what is a sprint? A sprint is a fixed time period, usually 1 to 2 weeks, where a team commits to delivering a set of features or improvements. Think of it like a mini project with a clear goal. Key characteristics of a sprint are: number one, a fixed duration; number two, a defined scope; number three, a clear outcome; and number four, a cross-functional team. Basically, a sprint is a fixed time period, usually 1 to 2 weeks, where a cross-functional team works on a defined scope to deliver a clear outcome. Now, what is the goal of a sprint? A sprint is not just about completing tasks. It's about delivering value, not we wrote code, but we solved something meaningful. This is defined through a sprint goal. Example: improve onboarding conversion. Everything in that sprint should contribute to this goal. So basically, the goal of a sprint is to deliver a specific set of features or improvements that achieve a clear, defined objective within a fixed time period. Now, let's talk about the sprint planning step by step. Sprint planning is where everything starts. Step number one: from selecting items from backlog to the teams picking the top priority items from the product backlog. These are already refined, estimated, and understood. No confusion at this stage. Step number two: define the sprint goal. This is self-explanatory. Instead of random task, you define one clear objective, and this keeps the team aligned. Step number three: break down the work. Each backlog item is broken into 3 steps mainly. Number one, smaller tasks. Number two, technical steps. And lastly, implementing the details. And all of this helps in execution. Now comes step 4, and that is to estimate the effort, commonly known as story points. So the teams estimate the effort using these story points. These are not hours. They represent complexity, effort, and uncertainty. For example, 2 points is equal to a simple task. 8 points is equal to a complex task. Another step in this ladder is the capacity planning. Now the team checks how much work can we actually do, and this is calculated or estimated based on the team size, the availability of the resources, and the past velocity. Simple funda, don't overcommit. And the last step, that is step 6. This is called the final commitment. Here, the team commits to the delivery. And this is important because commitment builds accountability. Another terminology here is known as the sprint execution. Now the real work begins, and let's break it down in components. The first one is the daily stand-ups. Daily stand-ups are short daily meetings, ideally between 10 and 15 minutes, not more than that. In this meeting, each person answers, what did I do yesterday? What will I do today? And are there any blockers? The purpose of this meeting is to stay aligned and remove any blockers. Another main component is the task execution. Task execution is where the team works on design first, then development, and testing at last. Everything moves step by step here, and the typical flow starts with to do, then in progress, then review, and finally is moved to done now. Let's talk about handling the blockers. Blockers are normal. They could be anything like technical issues, dependency delays, or maybe some missing requirements. Good teams raise blockers early, solve quickly, and move ahead without any friction later. Now, another key component is continuous collaboration. Sprint is not a silo work. Teams collaborate constantly. The product manager clarifies the requirements, engineers discuss on possible solutions, and the designers work on refining the UX part. And communication is the key here. Without team synergy and communication on time, all of this cannot be achieved. And if this can't be achieved, this will ultimately impact the final product. Now, another component is the mid-sprint adjustment. Sometimes things don't go as planned. You may need to reprioritize the planned work, drop low-value tasks, and adjust the scope due to various reasons, but don't disrupt the sprint unnecessarily, only when needed. Now, let's move a step ahead after discussing components, as we are now talking about the operational things on the ground: design, development, testing, how they are done operationally as a team. But the main question is, once they are done, or during the process, how do we track progress? Here are a few options and commonly used tools, techniques, and processes on how to track progress. Number one is the burn down chart. The burn down chart shows remaining work versus time. If work is reducing steadily, you're on track. If not, there's a problem. And number two is the velocity. Velocity basically measures how much work the team completes per sprint. And this data is then used for future planning and capacity estimation. Now, let us talk about the definition of done. Definition of done is a shared agreement within the team that clearly defines when a task or feature can be considered complete. It ensures that all required quality checks, validations, and standards are met before any work is marked as finished. A task is not truly done until it meets a predefined criterion, and that includes completion of the code, it gets properly tested, it's reviewed and approved, and if it's deployed or ready for deployment. This ensures quality, reliability, and a consistent standard of delivery across the product. Now, let's talk about the end of the sprint activities. What are the end of sprint activities? So, at the end of a sprint, the team reviews what was delivered and gathers feedback to improve future work. This ensures the product is moving in the right direction and continuously improving. This includes an activity called the sprint review. Sprint review is a demo of what was built to show the working product increment. This is where stakeholders give feedback. This is to focus on outcomes, not tasks. This is to update the backlog based on input. This is to align on the next steps. Now comes the sprint retrospective. Sprint retrospective meeting is conducted for the team where they discuss what went well, what didn't, and what can be improved. Now, let's talk about some common mistakes that teams make during this entire process from concept to completion. Number one, overcommitting, taking more work than capacity. Number two, poorly defined stories, and this leads to confusion. Number three, the lack of communication. This creates unnecessary delays. Number four is ignoring the blockers. This eventually slows down the progress. And the last point is where there's no clear sprint goal. This leads to scattered work. Now, do you know what successful teams do? So great teams don't just complete sprints, that they focus on delivering outcomes. And they ask, did we create value? Did we move the metric? And did we learn something? because output is not equal to the outcome. Now, let's connect the entire loop of the sprint cycle. On number one comes the backlog. On number two is the planning. Number three is always execution. On number four comes the review. Number five is the retrospective. And on six is the process repeat. This loop is what drives continuous delivery. Now, do you know what parties are involved in the entire sprint planning and execution process? They are number one, product manager. He is responsible for defining and prioritizing the end goal. Number two, the engineering team. They are responsible for building the features. Number three is the designer of the design team, and they are responsible for the overall UX creation. And lastly, the QA or the QA team. They are responsible for end-to-end quality as committed and agreed upon. Now, here, I've summarized a few one-liners as key takeaways that you guys can easily remember, and this will go a long way with you. They are: sprint is equal to the time-boxed delivery cycle. Planning defines the direction. Execution requires the collaboration. Tracking ensures the progress. Review validates the output. Retrospective improves the overall process and gives motivation to improve next time. So now you understand how teams plan and execute work. But how do teams ensure quality, stability, and reliability of the product? Now, in the next video, we'll break down testing and quality assurance in product development. This is the layer that ensures everything actually works. Till then, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. And yes, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.